How about another buzzer beater for you? The 6 seed Kentucky downing the 14 seed Oklahoma 85-84. The Sooners were getting 6.5 yesterday. Kentucky was minus 290. Total sit at 161 and a hook. The Wildcats were up 10 points in this game, Chelsea, with just over a minute to play. Oklahoma comes storming back, and they were up 84-83. 5 seconds to play, and guess who comes back to haunt them?
Oweh did it to the Sooners once. Can he do it again? He gets the basketball. He's going. He drives. He puts it on! And in with a half second to go! Oweh did it again to Oklahoma! A walk-off shot from Otega Oweh, and Kentucky will win it 85-84. You can't make it up!
Oh, how brutal is that? Second time this season, Oweh has hit a game winner to down his former team. So now the Cats are moving on. They're going to face Bama in the quarterfinals. Bama is favored by 6.5 in this game. Kentucky is interesting in that clearly they're not one of the top teams in the SEC, but when you have a guy like Oweh and you have the athleticism that they have, they can play with anyone on any given night.
Yeah, they're a really tall team. Like, that's the first thing I noticed, like, when I was watching them earlier this season. So they have the offensive and athletic prowess to play with anybody, like you said. And also, they almost have a home court advantage. Like, we've said this several times, but being here in Nashville, Big Blue Nation travels very well. It feels like Lexington South here this weekend. So you could hear, like, the thunderous applause and, you know, all the fans going wild, even in that soundbite. So they have several advantages here, including the momentum going into this game. Like we said, some of these teams who are sitting around cold, especially teams that rely heavily on shooting the three-pointer, like Alabama, a team that can kind of go hot and cold. I feel like this is a team that doesn't want to be sitting around. So I kind of like the points with Kentucky. But again, the total's 179.5. So points aren't exactly at a premium here.
Yeah. I feel like the more that we talk about these games, aren't we seeing this trend where we like taking the points as opposed to laying the points? You know, and it makes sense, right? Because these tournament games tend to be always close. I'm not saying, okay, just across the board, take the dogs. But I feel like if you did that, it's probably a better strategy than going the other way and laying points, just because of the nature of the tournaments.
And we had a professional handicapper, Adam Trigger, came on the show yesterday. We asked him about momentum, and he said it's impossible to ignore some of these teams. They get hot down the stretch because it matters. You know, they're playing with confidence. Like, look at Oklahoma. They were one of the worst teams in the SEC all season long, but they make this like little mini run. And even though they didn't win, they covered pretty easily, the 6.5. So I think that's the thing too. If you're getting more than like, you know, a 2-possession game, because that's the thing. Like, some of these games can go down to the wire, even when the talent, it looks like on paper there's a major discrepancy. But when you're getting 6.5, 7.5 points, especially in a rivalry game, Carolina and Duke, it feels very tempting.
Yeah, and, you know, when we're talking about rivalry games, we saw Texas stun Texas A&M yesterday, 94-89. Texas was a 5.5-point dog. I know we were talking about that in the previous segment. This is new for our audience on Stadium, but we were debating, okay, it's a double overtime game. So Texas, in theory, should be tired, but they have a ton of momentum right now. Now they face the Vols, and the Vols are laying 9.5 points, so it's a hard thing to balance. Okay, Texas has the momentum, but also how tired are they going to be?
Yeah, I think that's why you take the under. As opposed to taking a side, you say, hey, Tennessee's defense is going to be locked down. Texas is going to be tired. Hence, an under, Jenks.
Okay, I think we might be on that. All right, talking through these college basketball bets. It's helping me handicap as we go.